This is the Kpopcast. It's K-pop DJ PLo, and I welcome back recurring contributor, host, Rhodri of the K-pop show. What's up, Rhodri?
Hello!
Rhodri, did you think HyunA's Babe or Bebe was Daebak or not?
Daebak! Okay. That seems shorter than usual for an episode.
Whoa,
thanks for listening, everyone.
Whoa, there's more to the show here, Rhodri. Before we get there, before we dive into looking at HyunA's song further, let's dive into our hit replays. Hit replays are songs we recommend you play on repeat for the week. So, Rhodri, what's making you hit replay?
Oh, it is Jungkook, I think I'm saying that right, and Jimin's cover of We Don't Talk Anymore. Jungkook has like a ton of covers on YouTube, and this one is on YouTube as well. It's kind of ironic. The last time I brought in a hit replay for Taeyong, I had been listening to a song on YouTube because it hadn't actually been released at that point. And this one is the same. It's just a cover of We Don't Talk Anymore. It's so good. Somebody heard this playing in a store in America and got excited and posted it on Twitter. And ever since, I've been like listening to it over and over and over again. It's a shame I don't have does YouTube have a repeat button?
You know, it should, because it's like the audio playbook for a lot of people. You know, it's like their Spotify for for a lot of folks.
I mean, there are lots of videos where it's like, hey, this song for an hour.
Yeah.
So they should just have a replay button. But anyway, he's an amazing singer. I love the breathy falsetto. This is Jungkook I'm talking about. Jimin does well too, but I think Jungkook is the real star of the show, at least on this track. He belts really impressively too. And at the end, he starts soft and goes into the end belting. It's awesome. I love it. I highly recommend you look it up. I'm sure we'll post a link in the show notes.
Yeah, BTS proving once again that they are carving into the American market through just being themselves. And maybe this is a new model. I mean, BTS is, of course, making traction through their own songs, but maybe just doing covers of American songs. I mean, that could be a way to make it more approachable for Western listeners.
I hope they keep doing it, because I actually don't like We Don't Talk Anymore very much, and their version of it is amazing.
Well,
so I am 100% on board for BTS covers of songs that weren't that good originally.
Awesome.
How about you, PLo? What is making you hit replay this week?
So it's this dope ratchet electric beat from Miso.
I'm pink lady. I'm pink lady. I'm pink lady. I'm pink lady. 난 달콤해. Picky. I'm pink lady.
It's her song, Pink Lady. For this week, it was honestly a hard pick for me between this song and Sunmi's latest single, but this beat is banging, and I love her whiny voice. It's so stupid, but I love all the filtered effects on top of it, and it goes really well with this banging beat. Obviously, it's very similar to her last song, KKPP, but that song was a dope banger as well. Looking at the music video, you can tell Miso, her persona and her attitude screams stardom, and it's really what we want to see in a lead female in K-pop. And dudes, and just another reason, just getting out of the way, it's got gratuitous boob and butt action in the dance, so what more can you ask for?
What more indeed.
Yeah, it's Miso's Pink Lady. All right, so right before we dive into HyunA's review, have you ever wanted to sport K-pop apparel in a stylish way?
Heck yes.
Well, I just wanted to plug the FOMO Daily Shop, which has a really awesome set of high-quality t-shirts for today's K-pop stan. What I love about these cool t-shirts is that they can pass for something stylish even if you're not into K-pop. But a lot of the shirts make insider jokes that only K-pop stans would know or understand. So, for example, they have a t-shirt that says Bravo Tango Sierra, which is obviously a strong nod to BTS. Or there's another shirt that I really like that says leader, rapper, dancer, vocal, and maknae. I mean, this is stuff that, you know, it looks stylishly cool, but it's like, okay, this is an inside joke for all K-pop fans. So you help us by going to the FOMO Daily shop, and we help you by using the code Kpopcast, which gives you $5 off your purchase. So check it out. Again, it's shop.fomodaily.com, or check out the link in this episode's show description.
I actually went and looked at them. I love their NATO language shirts. They've got one for SNSD and EXO.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's Sierra, Delta.
It's very
November or whatever. Can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tasteful way to express your K-pop fandom. Okay.
Exactly. That's what we all want.
So let's dive into HyunA's Babe, or Bebe.
Bebe?
내 모습이 baby, 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 baby. 네 앞에선 baby, 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 baby. 나도 이렇게 될 줄은 몰랐어. 널 보고 있으면 나도 모르게 나 끝까지 나와. Tell me I'm your baby, baby. You make me 25, 25, 25. You make me 24, 24, 24. I feel like 21, 21, 21. Though 끝까지 나와. Tell me I'm your baby.
If you haven't seen this music video from HyunA yet, it's HyunA in space. She walks past the green screen onto a dance floor, and then that is transcended once again through a studio with her being this more sexy concept and walking into a box and then going back into space. At one point, she breaks away from all these dance sets that she's on, and she walks into an elevator, sort of like leaving the set, going back into space. So something very artsy going on in this. I mean, when people first saw this music video, I think the critical reception initially was that people were sort of mixed about it. People sort of complimented that this was a different angle and different style for HyunA without really knowing why she was going for this different approach. And of course, this was balanced in tandem with all the overzealous fans who will worship her every move and think that everything about this was awesome. And they thought that she looked very cute, very sexy in this, but I think when they say that she looked very cute, I think they're missing something in this message. So maybe to dive right into it, overall, and I could be wrong here, but what I'm getting from this music video is that it's all about being infantilized. If I'm pronouncing that word correctly, I had to look it up. and not infanticide, not killing a child, but rather.
Yeah, thank goodness. That would be a pretty dark K-pop music video.
Yeah. It's this feeling of being treated like a child.
Yeah, it's sort of like childizing something. Where you,
yes,
like,
exactly.
Make an adult a child. There are some people who like criticize the adult coloring book phenomenon as infantilism because it's like adults trying to be children.
There you go.
That's kind of what we're getting at when we say infantilized.
Exactly.
She feels infantilized. She feels like she's being made a child.
Yep, and thank you. That's a great example, Rhodri. So the lyrics, they point to actually an older woman who becomes a baby as she dates a man who is younger. So that lyrically, that's what it's about, and that's what they wrote on the 1TheK YouTube page description for the music video. But what I thought was really interesting, and it was Asian Junkie who wrote a really long story about this, and we'll link it in the episode notes. But it's really, as they argue, a critique on her career. It starts off in space with her showing how she wants to be moving forward, and then she transcends that into the present where she's on the stage with all these guys, dancing around her. That's, her current look, and then it goes backwards in time from there, right? So we see all these like previous concepts from her, but maybe it's also a comment on the K-pop industry where she's got to appear both sexy and cute and innocent as she gets older. The lyrics point to her going backwards in age, and it starts to get uncomfortable. It goes all the way back till she's 15, which is when she started her K-pop career, which made me initially think that it was specifically referring to her career, but this could be both generally speaking about her career and as well as the K-pop industry in general.
I did feel a little uncomfortable while I watched it, so I think you're onto something there.
I mean, there's moments where right at the bridge where she's asking to be pampered over again, and she repeats that lyric in the bridge, like, I'm not going to say it in Korean, but she repeats it, that her eyes get into these like big swelling anime like eyes. And that's supposed to be, I don't know, to me that took it as like pushing Aegyo too far. That's not representative of who she is wholly as a person, but how she's being cast by the label and as a K-pop star. I'm not sure if this was deliberate, but the song is called Babe, or Babe, if you actually pronounce it with the, I guess, the Korean pronunciation as it's written. And that to me seems like a sort of double entendre, as, you know, you want to be treated like a babe, like a, you know, a smoking chick, but at the same time this younger boy is treating her like a baby, like a, you know, an infant. Probably
what makes her uncomfortable is the lack of freedom over her own artistic expression that she's had going through this. I remember when 1111, when Taeyeon released 1111, that single she did that's kind of like a ballad, somebody on Twitter, I remember, I think it was Jacques actually from Arcady Blog, but anyway, whoever it was, said that they thought maybe this was something she was releasing not because she liked it, but because it sold. Something, you know, it kind of imposed on her a little more by the entertainment company and less a decision she made. And I don't know, because I don't know Taeyeon, but I thought that was an interesting revelation about like the kinds of music that these artists release, where especially if they release a variety of different kinds of songs in an EP, which HyunA typically doesn't release a ton of variety. It's usually like an, you know, EDM, sorry. I was going to say EMD. I don't know what that would stand for, but it's usually like an EDM kind of thing, kind of bangers, club music. But it's almost like, does she like that? Or is this her saying, I'm not 100% comfortable with how my career has progressed, or I want to do more of this and less of this, less of the child thing, more of the sexy, less of the sexy and more of like the down to earth. I don't know exactly what she's saying. Did you get anything more specific from like, as far as like what she wants? Because I mean, I'm not great at interpreting these things, but I feel like she's trying to tell us something.
Well, I think she's just trying to show that she's breaking the mold. So, right, you know, we're seeing this pattern right in the music video where she's going backwards and she's being forced through all these different concepts. For example, we see her being over-sexualized and then being shown again as a kid after she goes through that panel. And as she's going through this, you know, constant evolution, right, of all these different concepts, she's in the middle of dancing and then she just stops what she's doing and she walks away.
Yeah, that made me feel way uncomfortable.
And so I think she was trying to say that she is neither one of these things, or maybe that she is both of them together, which I think Asian Junkie is arguing that she balances that duality of those two different states, as that's genuinely her. And the label is trying to force her into one camp or the other, or maybe fans and the media at large see her in one camp or the other. But I think what she's trying to say with the song is that she's moving beyond that now. And that's why she quite literally leaves the set of those dancers and goes into this elevator and then goes back into space. At least as we see her in the beginning. Because I mean, I totally see that space as her moving into what's next, you know, her new career. So knowing that this whole song is about this, and we're not, you know, exactly precise, knowing exactly what it's trying to say, but generally it's this feeling that she is deviating away from what she's done previously, and that it's about infantilization. What do you think of this concept?
I felt like she was in distress, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. So I think your kind of theory that I'm supposed to feel uneasy as I watch is pretty good. And I liked that I felt uneasy because if that's what she wants, then she did a really good job. And I like to see that, you know, whether it's a message I like or a message I'm not too crazy about or whatever, no matter what the concept is, I always respect it if there's a message, some kind of emotional payoff, and they can get that across. So I like the concept. if we're right here, and I think we are, then she did a really good job with, overall what the concept is, which is this like anti-infantilism, let me be myself kind of message.
Yeah. And back on that, a Soompi article said that her album Following, the album is intended to be for those who have followed her throughout her career, and also a way for her to ask listeners to continue to follow and have an interest in her music. Now, I'm not sure if that was just like this sort of like short, stupid answer that, she's instructed to give, by her label.
Yeah.
But, perhaps looking deeper at it and perhaps even overanalyzing it, we can say that this is showing her looking back and providing an evolution on what's next to come from her. So I think this is trying to mark a sort of transition for her as an artist. I mean, especially because she's so senior in her career at this point. I was listening to K-Stop, another K-pop podcast, which is worth checking out as I was heading in to record today, and I caught the beginning of it, and I think it was Tina or Jeff, they said on the show that she's at the point in her career where she can really start to make those artistic, experiments and evolutions, right? She doesn't have to do something that's going to be the lowest common denominator anymore because she is so senior. And so I think that's probably what she's trying to do here. I really do get the feeling that the label gave her a bit more creative control to define herself in this.
They must have, because it seems like she criticizes them pretty, kind of a veiled criticism, so certainly nothing like too upfront, but it seems like they let her criticize the way they've handled her career, which is cool.
Yesterday when I was looking at this, I was so bought off on this being like directly a statement about her own career, right? As like K-pop idol, and how, when she went to this, scene or this set, it was representing her, How's This or Roll Deep era, where she was being hypersexual. Same thing with the Red era. And then I thought like, okay. And then when she starts getting innocent, this was her with being in her 4-minute days. I've since abandoned that theory, mainly because it doesn't capture the iconic looks from each of those stages. In the same way that we would with JYP's Still Alive, right? Where he made it very obvious that he was referencing his previous evolutions or his previous concepts. And I think she didn't do that because maybe she's not trying to say that this is specifically her, but could also be applied in a more general, looser sense.
Oh, I see. So you're saying this is more a criticism of K-pop than it is of the way that her career has gone.
I'm only guessing, just because if it really was about her career, I think she would have made that more obvious, right?
Well, I think so too. So I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I'm actually surprised that it's taken her so long to get to the artistic criticism, like casting off the shackles kind of song and concept, because it feels like, if she's been, did you say she'd been in since she's 15? And
yeah,
kind of in
Korean
K-pop?
age 15. Yeah, which is, what she says at the end of the song.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
But it feels like usually it's like a 6 or 7 year thing, and then if the person has a solo act, by then they start saying, I want more of me in this and less of what sells.
Right. Yeah, and maybe she's at that point. I'm not sure. And I don't think we can definitively know.
If she is, she took her time getting there.
I mean, this all said, and like, if this is indeed the message that she's trying to put out there, I definitely applaud it. But what I really love about HyunA is her very unique voice, in that very like sort of sexualized, like Gangnam stylized whine. And it's probably what, honestly, back in her Wonder Girl days, is probably what made JYP make her and designate her as the rapper of the Wonder Girls when she first started her career. So her rap in this song is really sick, and I love it. But I want more of that rap. And again, it's what's making her different, and you should celebrate those unique quirks and attributes, I think, honestly, and to really succeed in entertainment and pop. And I think what we're getting from HyunA is that she wants to get away from always being that as what this music video is trying to show. But I want to say, homegirl, you slay with that style. So I think she should keep doing it. but at the same time, I understand what she's trying to say and do with her career, which I respect.
She does have a cool, that first song on the album, Follow Me, I think is what it's called. That one's pretty awesome. It sort of gave us a banger to chew on while we also chew on her artsy Bebe.
Yeah. So, Rhodri, what did you think of the song itself, the music of the song?
I actually like this, but when I first listened to it, and, I actually like this, but when I first listened to it, I noticed myself feeling like a little disappointed by it. Not consciously, but it was like I was telling myself, consciously, this is cool. But halfway through it, I caught myself writing it off as another okay song in K-pop. And I think if all K-pop was at least at this level of quality, K-pop would be amazing. All K-pop songs would be good, because I do like this song. I got like chills as I was listening to it. And it's definitely the kind of song I usually like. I really like the way that they start with like you and I were talking about this beforehand. I wish I had looked it up a little better, but I don't know what instrument it is. It's like a marimba, xylophone, bell/wood block sounding thing. I love that sound. And then I loved when it switched to the synth in the chorus, that saw synth. Anyway, but I just like kept listening, and as I listened to it more and more, I felt more and more like I didn't like it that much, or that it was going to get old. And I was like, why is this song that I supposedly like feeling like it's going to get old? And I put a lot of stock in subconscious feelings when it comes to art. So when I listened a few more times and I still couldn't get into it, I decided to try and at least figure out why. And I think I did. I think I figured it out. Also, I'm not trying to convince anybody to stop liking this song, by the way. But maybe I can at least, by understanding how I feel about this, you'll probably hopefully understand it a little better yourself, bring into some perspective into how it was made, what how it matches the message, why they made these decisions. But also, I did all of this research before I even watched the music video, so I didn't even really know anything about the concept. I was just judging this song based on audio only.
Okay.
Anyway, I think the reason I couldn't get into this is that riff at the beginning. And I say it's at the beginning, but it's through the entire song, whether it's played on the xylophone thingy or that super awesome saw synth. It never leaves you alone. And sometimes they only play the first part of it on repeat for like the bridge or something like that, but it's always there. And that's not like a bad thing, because pop songs are all repetitive. But I found as I listened to this on repeat, it became difficult to tell if the song had ended and begun again. Like I couldn't keep track of how many times I listened to it. And so the emotional payoff of hearing the song end was getting kind of drowned out and glazed over by the fact that I was basically just listening to the same line of music over and over again for an entire 10 minutes. And I actually stopped playing the song midway through it because I didn't care if I got to the end, because I knew what the end sounded like. It sounded like what I was listening to right then at that moment.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to confirm this a little bit, so I compared it to a few other songs, and we'll play some clips from some of these so that you kind of can get a feel of what they are. But there are other summer songs. They're like cool, like jams where you like roll down your window and you're driving and you're like, it's warm outside and life is good and it's upbeat, up tempo. The songs that I used were Devil by Super Junior. That was back in 2015 that was released. So it's 2 years old, but hopefully most of you know what that is. Dinosaur by Akmu, which Stephanie picked as her hit replay a few episodes back.
Yep.
Those were the two songs I picked that I like, that I compared this to, and I picked two songs that had kind of gotten old inexplicably, that I thought I was going to love. And I wanted to like compare it to those to see if they had anything in common. Those two songs there were Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, obviously, since it sounds so much like the sounds in Shape of You, this Bebe xylophone line. And then Zoo by Red Velvet. Also another cool song, well-known London noise thing they did for Red Velvet. Everybody seems to like that one a lot. I got tired of Shape of You and Zoo way faster than I thought I would, because I remember when I first heard them, I thought, these are awesome. These are so cool. But I found that the ones I like, Devil and Dinosaur, both ditch their fun, like pop summer drive with the windows down riff because they all have those riffs at the beginning. In Dinosaur, there's like this kind of melodic line in the synths in the background that plays throughout the first verse and the chorus.
No, oh,
설계 없었던 놀이기만은 나를 펄쩍 뛰게 하는 펄쩍 뛰게 하는 펄쩍 뛰게 하는 dinosaur.
And in Devil, it's the same. There's this like guitar riff that they play throughout the whole song. And then in Shape of You and Zoo, there's two riffs too, also in those that they play throughout the songs. And that's why I compared these, by the way. I found that in the ones I like, they ditch the riff in the pre-chorus and in the bridge. And when the riff disappears, they replace it with a crazy new melody line in the vocals. And so you're getting a ton of variety while you listen to these songs. Whereas that like feeling of just listening to the same thing over and over wasn't there. Because even though it was, I was still listening to the same thing over and over again, but I could because they broke it up. They broke up the monotony of it. In Shape of You and Zoo, they actually play those riffs the entire song, even in the pre-chorus, even in the bridge. Whenever there's build-up, whenever there should be like some variety, there really isn't.
Start to dance and now I'm singing like I'm in love with your body, a thrifty so.
And I've actually heard that Ed Sheeran doesn't think Shape of You is a very good song. He kind of released that one because his label wanted him to or whatever.
Well, it's immediately catchy, right?
Yeah, and he's sort of favors a more like personal sounding kind of song, less generic, less lowest common denominator, like what you were saying. And so I think that he's not a huge fan of that one, which I can see why. It's got the least variety of all of his like hit singles that I know of. Bridges and pre-choruses. You got to ditch that riff. Got to give me something new. And Bebe doesn't. Not really anyway. However, now that I know a little more about the concept, I'm thinking that was probably intentional. Well, just in case it doesn't seem like it could be intentional, imagine writing an essay, but making like a format for every paragraph. Like one sentence is going to be describing a point. The next will be an opinion, and the third sentence will be wrapping everything up. I don't know. I haven't written an essay in ages. But like, imagine writing an essay where you copied and pasted one paragraph for 5 pages and then just changed a few words here and there in them. That would be like what you're doing when you're writing a song. When you're hearing a song, you're not noticing all of it as much, but when it's all laid out in front of you and you're using the copy-paste function in your digital audio workstation is what we call those, where you like move all the files around and the samples and loops. And so it's pretty clear when you repeat something the entire time, because you will see it constantly being copied and pasted over and over again. So they clearly did this on purpose. So why they did this on purpose, I was wondering until I knew about the concept. And then it's like, maybe HyunA feels like she's running through the same old hoops over and over again. And she feels like everybody is in the K-pop industry and wants a little more honesty, a little more personality, and a little less unrealistic expectations. And so she gave us a song that sacrificed variety, but preserves the message really well, which I kind of think is cool, if that's what it was intended to do.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it, Rhodri. I think that was an unintended consequence. I think that just ended up being that way because they're trying to make the song catchy, and I don't think HyunA had that much artistic control over the music as she did over the concept. I think she had more control over the concept, or at least that's where I'm getting more of the message from her. Yeah. And maybe this is just me not giving her enough credit, but like I don't think of HyunA, you know, putting that much thought into the music itself in that way. But
well, you know her better than I do.
yeah. Well, yeah, I did see her live. And
you're
I also saw her backup
first person
dancers
acquainted.
live. Yeah, there you go. And her backup dancers are the ones I saw live are also the same ones in this music video, and they also look great. But it was so funny because seeing her backup dancers, they also follow her in this concept that she shows in the music video of them being segmented into one role or another, being cute or sexy, even though that might not even match who they are as like people, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess more to your point, Rhodri, like this song doesn't have as much staying power, right? Because it's just so repetitive and doesn't break it up like these other great songs.
Yeah. And I also think that it was an unintended consequence. It doesn't seem like the kind of song that has like a ton of art hidden in it, at least not in the audio. Kind of unfortunate that I don't think it'll have enough staying power because there's not enough variety. And it's like you say, she doesn't really play to her strengths. So there's your possibility. There's my fan theory where maybe there's something there, but probably not.
Yeah, well, it's the one where, you know, if you're a HyunA fan and you just want to believe the best possible world, like that's the one you pick. So
yeah,
you can say like, this is what it really means if you're a HyunA fan. There was one thing about the song though that I'm deferring to your musical expertise in this, Rhodri, but there was something like at the end of like every phrase, it ends like in a dissonant chord or something. And I felt that I was trying to make it sound sort of eerie and comfortable, like on purpose, at least in the music. I mainly hear it when they go into the synths. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I hear what you're talking about. There's that right at the very end of the dun 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 dun. Except for in the dun, there's like this weird. I think it's I want to say that's like a diminished chord. Maybe.
I think it's even more pronounced. Like, so yeah, you can hear it in like the chimes in the beginning or the percussion.
Yeah, the percussion thingy.
Yeah, that whatever that thing is. It sounds kind of cool in the beginning, but when you start really digging into the synths, that's when it really starts to sound uncomfortable to me, like deliberately uncomfortable. Like this is like, ugh. Like this feeling like, oh, this is not good. It's this overall concept of not feeling so good about where this K-pop industry and infantilization is taking you, or infantilization is taking you.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying earlier, where she probably didn't have like a ton of say over the music. She probably wasn't like, hey, use a minor D diminished seventh chord. Because I really think it will artistically convey this concept. But I think they are more comfortable using crazy chords because of what the concept was. So yeah. I think you're onto something there. I think that could be definitely intentional, where they would have gone for a happier chord had the concept not been so serious.
Right.
Something even more catchy, per se.
Moving on to our final scores. Rating 1 to 5, 1 being lowest, 5 being highest. What do you think of the concept overall?
I think it is... this is tough because I'm not like a huge fan of it, but I also think it's an important message. I don't like infantilization.
Yeah.
I will give it a 3.8 for effort. Because I believe it's important, and I'm glad that somebody's talking about it. And I'm glad that HyunA is talking about it, because I really like HyunA.
Yeah, if anyone's to do it, I mean, she's a good person to really weigh in on this subject.
So 3.8, that's a pretty high score, right? I'll give it that.
Yeah. Up until this moment, I hadn't even thought what I was going to rate it.
Neither did I.
I kind of want to say I am also the same. It's pretty good. Like, it's a very applaudable effort and message to give.
I think the reason I'm not like wanting to go higher is because it's not necessarily like what I like, or especially like what I like from HyunA. I loved How's This. I think that was a cool song.
Yeah.
And I was like a little disappointed that this wasn't as upbeat and like kind of a club song like that one was. But I like the artistic HyunA, And so 3.8,
Yeah.
I think, is a good spot for me on concept.
I guess overall what I want to say is that I did write down, it's subtle and unsettling. If they stayed on that flavor of message, right, this, subtle and unsettling message, like, I think I would rate it all the way up to a 5. But the reason why I'm not giving it that high is because I don't think they fully convey that message. I think they could have done that just a little more poetically, and probably in a way that directly references HyunA's career specifically, in a way that was just a little less subtle, but still symbolically conveys the same meaning in a stronger way. So I guess HyunA also 3.8.
Okay. Well, I'm happy with that.
There you go. How about the music? Also 1 to 5.
Music, I'm going to stick at a 3.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. I just didn't like it that much, but I also do like it a lot, in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how to describe how I feel about the music, but I think 3 is a comfortable way for me to describe how I feel.
Yeah, when I first listened to this, and it was actually one of our listeners, Taylor, he pointed out to us, like, hey, what do you think of HyunA's new song? And I listened to it, like, that moment, and I was like, wow, this song is, like, barely Taebak. Like, it's okay. Like, I really like the intro verses, but once it got into the choruses, and even after and from the bridge onwards, it was like, okay, this is just a little too heavy and a little too mixed.
Yeah. I like it. I just don't think it'll last very long.
Yeah. It's not, there's nothing technically wrong with it. Like, it has a good polish in terms of what one would expect from, like, audio production from someone like Cube and an idol like HyunA.
Yeah.
But it's not her strongest. So, Rhodri, I'm right there with you. I am also a 3. So we are same scores on these.
Well,
but overall, I mean, taking all of this into account, so both the concept and the music, is this song
Taebak or not?
Like I said with Taylor, I think this song is barely Taebak, so Taebak for me.
I also think this is barely Taebak. I think it's good. I think that as like if I was recommending this song not using a number score, I would say if you're a HyunA fan, this is a good addition to her discography.
Yes.
I like the EP. I like that she's doing a concept that I feel like I understand her a little better.
Right.
And just because I don't like the song a lot doesn't mean it's not Daebak, because I think that what matters is that on a shelf full of HyunA CDs, this one has a spot.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Well said, Rhodri.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And a spot not only just for its variety in sound, but also in message. I'm really curious what will follow from here onwards from HyunA.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a real applaudable effort from her. Sunmi's Gashina, if I'm pronouncing that song right. That song right now I think is actually doing a little better popularity-wise. And I think maybe it's doing a little bit better because it's playing to a genre of music that seems to be trending right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's tropical house or dancehall.
Good old
and
tropical.
The concept and the message of that song, I think, is more immediately understood and palpable, right? In terms of like, oh, I've been dumped and this is my sort of like getting over him song, right? This song requires a lot more thinking and diving into. And I don't know if that always succeeds with K-pop fans, especially long-standing HyunA stans to this point. Like, I will admit that I like the unidimensional, sexy HyunA concept. Like, I loved Red. I loved, Roll Deep and How's This? Like, those songs from her, I really love. And I play them, even though they're very stupid, unidimensional songs. Maybe my question to you, Rhodri, is should she keep doing stuff like this where she's trying to go more multidimensional, or should she go back to songs like, what seems to be working well and what's more readily understood by the public at large on a first listen.
I think what we will see from her, I don't know what she should do, because I don't know. Hearing this song makes me realize that I didn't know HyunA as well as I thought I did. But I think what we will see is probably still sexiness, because I mean, we certainly saw that at least to some degree in this music video. And I don't think she'll ever really be able to leave it behind if she wants to, which I'm not sure she does. Mm-hmm. But if she wanted to, I think she would have a hard time just doing something else. So I think what we probably will see is still that, but I think it will be, I don't know, I think it'll be different at least. At least different.
Should HyunA still make these gambles, like, in terms of trying to do something artistic? I mean, was it a good time for her to make it?
I don't think it'll work forever.
Yeah.
There was kind of a time last year where it was like exhausting. I used to go check the iTunes store every once in a while just to see what was new, and like this was before Apple Music, actually, so this was a couple of years ago. But anyway, at least before I had Apple Music, the Apple editor notes always, every single album said, this is like a really stripped away, honest look at this artist's life and how they see their career. And it was like, if you could get $1 for every time the Apple edited notes said stripped away, honest, really deep, thoughtful, thought-provoking, honest. It's like, oh my gosh, when are people just going to go back to performing and writing music and stop trying to tell us their life story? Because I do not care. So I think eventually the more we see this from K-pop, the more we'll get tired of it. And I don't think it'll work forever. So I think artists are doing that more. I think now that people are growing up, the groups are breaking up, people are getting their solo careers going. And the more you have a solo career, it's like I was saying, I'd be interested to know if there's like a year count. Or at least I think I was saying this earlier. Where they start to go artistic and me more. But the more solo careers we get, the more we're going to see this. And I think the people who stop doing it are going to find that they're very popular. So whoever does it first is going to be very popular and lauded. And whoever stops doing it, maybe not artistically and critically lauded for it, but we will all start buying their music more. So
there you go.
That's kind of my 2 cents on the whole honest concept thing.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with that, Rhodri. Like, it's probably going to work with this generation of K-pop fans, but assuming this present generation of K-pop fans are still around, like, for the next iteration of, all these idols going into that senior part of their career, we'll see if they still if they're still around long enough to get tired of it before the next generation of young K-pop fans come and it's still a novel idea and concept and message to them.
I mean, when it comes down to it, we just want love songs. We want party songs. We don't always want to hear about you. We want to hear about us.
Yeah, not always. It's a fine balance, and I don't think I'm in a position to say exactly how they should do it.
I certainly don't know, but that's I think we'll be seeing more of it for a while and then a lot less of it after that.
Yeah. I think HyunA's got to rebound off of this, going back into something safe. I think she's got to go back into that whiny, nasally chipmunk
You'll get what you want,
voice. Peter. Yeah. And
she's got to give the people what they want.
Sexy dance moves. Yeah. And I will be happy. And if it's on a dope, ratchet, electronic beat.
Right.
There we go.
Dope, ratchet, electronic beats are very friendly in DJ PLo's world.
It is my bias. So.
Your bias wrecker is anyone who releases a dope electric ratchet beat
with sexy images.
Of course.
Okay. So I think that's it for this episode of the Kpopcast. Listener feedback from the last couple episodes. Twitter user Marie tweeted at us that her replay lately has been NCT 127's Cherry Bomb. We didn't actually get a chance to review that song formally, but Rhodri, I know you and I were both discussing separately that we both agree that Whiplash is really the star song off of that
yeah.
album. So
I gotta
Marie-
say, as some of you know, I have a show called The K-Pop Show, and it's been on hiatus for ages. I actually liked this whole EP so much that I considered just like doing a solo episode. It never like worked out that I could, but I guess I don't remember why, but I think I just didn't have time or something. But like I was this close to just bringing back the K-Pop Show just so I could talk about Cherry Bomb. So I totally agree, Marie. That is amazing.
Yep.
Deserves to be a hit replay.
And then Taylor, same Taylor listener I referenced earlier, he also corrected us on our last episode saying that the SNSD single that producer Kenzie wrote was actually All Night and not Holiday. So
How many more episodes do you think you're going to have to spend apologizing for that?
Oh my god, like forever and ever. Like I can do Girls' Generation fans like no justice. I feel like I can't.
I'm gonna like start a new
someone.
I'm gonna start a new Twitter account every week and like remind you of your mistakes for SNSD, and you'll keep having to bring it up.
Yeah, but fair enough. Like I don't mind saying where we got it wrong, right? Like,
Oh no, I think it's good. I'm not like no.
Yeah, no, we want to get positive and critical discussion on K-pop, and if that means admitting where we got things wrong, I think I'm all for it.
For sure.
So that's it for listener feedback for this week. Again, guys, don't forget to check out the FOMO Daily Shop for sweet K-pop apparel. Remember to use the referral code Kpopcast, which saves you $5. Next episode, we'll probably dive into BTS with even more theory crafting. Let's hope we get that right with BTS.
It's always P-Dog. That's the producer, P-Dog. Every time. That's all you need to know.
Wait, what? P-Dog?
Oh, no, never mind.
Okay.
That's just their producer.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, is this some like deeper like metaphorical message or something?
Nope.
Okay. So let's close out with our social handles. But in closing out, let's list our favorite HyunA song. So Rhodri, what's your favorite HyunA song, and where can people find you online?
My favorite HyunA song is from her last EP, Awesome. It's You and Me. I love the EDM kind of low-key
that's such a good
EDM.
one.
Yeah, it's amazing. I
remember,
totally thought she'd make a music video for that one when I first listened to it, but then the next song came on and it was How's This? And I was like, nope, this is the one.
Yeah, when I saw her live, she said You and I, or I and You, or whatever it's called. She said that song meant a lot to her. And
really?
It is such a good song. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love that one.
Okay, and my favorite is Roll D. Oh, wait, sorry. Before we get there, Rhodri, where can people find you online?
I was going to say, you can find me at Rhodri, just my name twice, on Twitter. You can also find the K-Pop Show page on Facebook. I have been in contact with Andrew. He's a busy man, but we're going to try and get this thing going again. So there will be more K-Pop Show, somehow, some way.
There you go. And my favorite HyunA song is Roll Deep. It's just so good. It's just so sexy and S&M. And I think raw HyunA, as I like it.
Raw HyunA.
And you can find me at DJ PLo on Twitter, or you can tweet at us, give us your thoughts on this episode at the Kpopcast. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Rhodri, and I guess we'll catch you guys all the next episode. And Rhodri, always happy to have you on the show.
Hey, it's great to be a contributor/host on one of my favorite K-pop podcasts.
We'll come up with a real title for you. Yeah. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Bye.